Hey there everybody, Decaff here from ysflightheadquarters.com and ysupload.com, and today we are going to do a request from JetSkit all about how to make the shark teeth that you sometimes see on the nacelles of engines. And this is actually a really interesting topic because, there's a number of ways we can do it, but I think I've found a way that does it pretty simply. And you can take what I'm going to show you today and apply it to whatever you really want to. So let's begin by setting up our nacelle, because that's what we need to do first. We're going to go ahead and add in a mesh, and it's going to be a cylinder. And we're going to want a lot of vertices, so not like 5 or 10, but something like maybe 24. You don't want to have an odd number of vertices, you want to have an even number for this method. And we're going to go ahead and plop that in and set all of this to 0. And get that guy, there we go. And we're going to set it up so that if we're looking at it from the side, the engine is going to be perfectly lined up. So right here, what we're going to do is start doing some cutting. And we're going to do a multi-cut, 2 multi-cuts, so we can have a setup like this. And what we're going to do is make sure that we have vertices selected and the cube is not highlighted so that we can actually select everything. And we're going to start scaling a couple of these things. So I'm going to scale this guy to let's call it 7, or actually that's 0.6. Let's try that. This guy right here is going to be scaled to 1.1. And we're going to leave it like that. That's the general sort of shape that we're going to use. Now we're going to scale this along the X direction by a factor of 2 to sort of stretch it out a bit. And we're going to bump this guy back up just a wee bit. And move these guys forward. So it looks a lot more like an engine nacelle that you might see on something like an Airbus. So now what we need to do is we need to start working on our shark tooth. And there's a couple things that we need to do for that. First, we want to start off by deleting that vertice there. And if you really want to, you can delete this one as well. Just so you can, see through and do all sorts of things like that. And this is probably where we get a little bit tricky. We're going to select alternating vertices here. This is so that we can actually create the shark tooth look and make the trailing edge of this nacelle all jagged. So there we go. Everything is selected alternatingly. We're going to go to the number 1 view mode, move these forward, 0.2, something like that. But notice right here how it sort of comes in a little bit. It sort of warp that edge down, so it's sort of coming in and out there. That's not quite what we want because it's not quite exactly what it's supposed to look like. So we're going to scale these guys just until they start looking a little bit more natural, just so it's not really super deformed there. There's going to be a little bit of deformation, but there's not much we can do about that. So you may be thinking, great, we're done. But we aren't, because right now we have a see-through nacelle. So what we have to do is close up at least the trailing edge. In this front edge, you could put, you could sort of wrap it around and put a fan inside there and have that rotating. But the trailing edge here, you really don't have much to do, so we need to close this up. So we're going to select everything again. You can use a box select if you want, or loop select. And we're going to duplicate it. And we're duplicating this because we don't want to have to do all sorts of separating and other stuff like that. By duplicating it, we're sort of making a separate mesh inside of this object. And it helps us a lot when we start to do shading and making things smooth and whatnot. So once we have that, we're going to extrude this edges only in the X direction. We can click our middle mouse button to snap it to that axis. And we're going to bring it forward, say 0.5. Then this guy right here, we're going to scale in the X direction to 0, so it lines everything up in a nice vertical column there. And now we're going to basically do the same thing that we did initially. We're going to duplicate it, extrude this, but instead of moving it, we're just going to hit the space bar before we move our mouse or anything like that. And then we're going to scale that to 0. And at the center here, we're going to want to remove all the doubles. So we're going to just merge at center, and that's going to remove all the extra vertices in there. So now you can see from the back end we have all sorts of nice things. If we go ahead and hit smooth, we have a generally smooth exterior, but we notice that the inside here is getting a little bit interesting. So we're going to go in here and just select each one of these sets and hit Control N to recalculate the normals. And then we're going to do the same thing on the inside there. Control N, recalculate the normals. Now what we need to do is make sure that our normals are pointing in the right direction so that when we go to the textured view mode, we don't see through the model. So if we are trying to look at this, if you're looking at the mesh and it should be white but you're seeing through, the normals are in the wrong direction. And we can double check that by clicking the Draw Normal and Draw V Normal if you really want to. But I like to stick with Draw Normal just because it gives everything that we need and nothing we don't. And you notice how these guys right here are pointed outwards. We need to flip that around. So what we need to do is select all of the all the faces that are pointing in the wrong direction, which is basically everything on the inside here. And we need to press W, flip normals, and that'll move everything to the inside. So now let's go to the textured view mode to double check it, and oh hey, there it goes. So this is just a really quick way that you can sort of make an engine that has the shark teeth and the cells in there. Probably going to want to color the insides here a dark color just so it's not confused with the outside. But aside from that, this is pretty much it. If you have any questions about this, go ahead and throw me a comment down below. Sort of went through this a little bit fast, and I'm hoping that you can take what I'm showing you here and apply it to whatever you're working on. Because really you could have a very, very different style engine and you're just worried about making the shark teeth here at the back. But key points to remember: you want to have an even number of vertices, and you'd like to have a lot of them so that you don't have like 10 teeth going all the way around. You have maybe a little bit more than that. So if that's it. I hope you enjoy using this and can make some really interesting models. Until next time, have fun. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you want to find some cool add-ons for YS Flight, head on over to ysupload.com, the official add-on hosting site for ysheadquarters.com.